Picture this. You open your inbox and you see a message from a recruiter or a hiring manager saying that they would love to interview you. You feel great. And then you see the date. It's tomorrow. Usually we want several days to prepare, or in an ideal world, even a full week. But life is not always that generous. So sometimes we just have to adapt in the moment. So this video is about how to prepare in only 24 hours for a last-minute interview. See, we're going to be intentional here. We're going to be selective, and we're going to focus on only the things that really move the needle. You see, most people fail in last-minute preparation because they try to do everything. And in doing that, they do very little in anything. So we're not going to do that. We're going to focus on just the essentials. Right from the start, I want to remind you that ordering my custom interview toolkit is the fastest and most effective way to know what are the competencies, the keywords, and the questions that would be relevant for your particular role. See, when time is short, you don't want to guess. Your interview toolkit gives you exactly this: an alignment guide that lets you know the core traits expected, challenges you're going to be hired to solve, soft skills and cultural fit themes so that you can match to their expectations. A story bank list of star HR questions focused on the key competencies of the specific role that you're hiring for, and a dashboard so that you can link all your stories to keep everything organized and tidy. And for the rest of this year, my lowest price ever. If you use code LASTMINUTE at checkout, you're going to get 50% off, saving you $25 from this resource. It's going to save you hours of headache, stress, and uncertainty. The link is in the description or pinned in the comments below. Okay, that said, let us set a realistic expectation. In 24 hours, you're not going to read the entire history of the company, nor are you going to create 30-star HR stories. You're not even going to memorize every single leadership principle that they wrote. That's fine. In short preparation windows, our goal is to show the interviewer 5 things. 1, that you understand the role and the problems that they want solved. 2, that you can tell us story-based answers with clear outcomes. 3, that you can introduce yourself with a clear personal brand. 4, that you have self-awareness through your strengths and weaknesses. And 5, that you are curious and future-focused because of the questions that you bring. Now, to make that happen, I want you to think of your 24 hours in 3 phases. Pass 1 is alignment. Pass 2 is stories, and pass 3 is delivery and rehearsal. So let's focus on pass 1, alignment. Even if you only have 15 or 20 minutes, read the job description slowly. Highlight the verbs and highlight the outcomes. Verbs are the doing words like lead, deliver, build, collaborate, improve, resolve, influence. Outcomes are the results: on time, within budget, increased revenue, better customer satisfaction, reduced churn, fewer defects. The verbs tell the behaviors and the competencies, and the outcomes tell you what success looks like. If the description keeps talking about delivery, deadlines, budgets, and impact, then delivering results is going to be tested. If it mentions working with partners or internal teams and stakeholders, then collaboration and communication are coming. If it mentions busy environments and changing priorities, then prioritization is going to be your focus. Now, if you have the interview toolkit, this first phase is even quicker. You just enter the role and the company, and the toolkit is going to group all the competencies and keywords together and the likely questions for you. Instead of reading the description 3, 4, 5 times and guessing, you can see it clearly presented in this document. Now, pass 2, stories. This is where we're going to spend most of our time because it's what gives you something to say. You're not going to have time to prepare every single competency that exists. So we're going to be selective and pick the ones that cover the most ground. You need at least 5-star HR stories. 1 for delivering results, another for collaboration, another for problem solving, another for communication and influence, and lastly, prioritization. If you bring these 5 to an interview, you can answer a large percentage of behavioral questions. On top of that, we want you to have an introduction ready using the Brava framework. 1 strengths answer, 1 weaknesses answer, and at least 2 questions for the interviewer. Now, we need to talk about how to write these stories because this is where people get stuck, especially when the interview is coming last minute. Normally, STAR is situation, task, action, result. And then we add a HR, so a headline at the beginning and a reflection at the end. And that's fine when you have time. But when you're rushed, starting with the situation can create a bit of a mind block. You're going to start thinking about dates and who was involved and who the client was. It really slows you down. So for last minute preparation, I want you to write STAR HR in a different order. Write it like this: task, result, action, reflection, situation, and headline. See, this prevents you from getting mind block. It helps forming a headline easier because it's already done, and it's a way more efficient way to work when time is short. Here's why. When you start with task, you force yourself to say in one sentence what you were trying to achieve. My task was to restore on-time delivery for a key client, or my task was to align the sales team and the operations team so that the customers received what they were promised, or my task was to increase customer satisfaction in 3 months. After that, we're going to go straight to result. So, within 6 weeks, delivery improved from 72% to 97%. Or within 3 months, customer satisfaction increased by 12 points. Or within 1 quarter, the team reduced rework by 30%. Now you have the promise of the story. Then you list the actions. So what did you do? I analyzed the data. I brought the right people together. I redesigned the handoff. I set up a daily review. Then we want to move with reflection. This is what you learned, and this is what you would repeat or change. Then the situation. This is the where and when it took place. Finally, we have the headline. See, the headline is going to practically write itself because you've already done the task, action, and result. Now, let me model this example with a question that you've probably heard before. Tell me a time when you solved a problem. So the task would be, my task was to resolve a recurring delivery delay that was causing complaints from our national accounts. The result was that within 6 weeks, we were able to reduce the deliveries from 28% to under 5%, and the customer complaints on this issue dropped to almost zero. So what was the action in this? I pulled 3 months of delivery data and saw that most delays came from one depot on one route. I brought the depot manager, a transport and customer service into a short daily review. We changed the cutoff time for orders, and we added an extra check for high-value customers. And we created an escalation process so customer service could intervene before delivery became late. So what was the reflection? I learned that small process changes remove a lot of noise. I also learned that when the right people talk daily, problems are solved much faster and trust improves. So the situation of this would be, last year while I was the service coordinator for national accounts, I was receiving weekly feedback from clients about late deliveries. And now how do we do this headline? One problem that I was able to solve was recurring delivery delays for national accounts. By analyzing the data and tightening the processes with operations, resulted in late deliveries dropping from 28% to under 5%, and complaints almost disappeared. Let me explain how that happened. Remember to always use the question to frame the headline in the interview. If the question is, tell me a time when you solved a problem, your headline is going to become this. One problem I was able to solve was the problem, your solution, and then the result. Then run them through situation, task, action, result. Now, let me add some other elements that you must have in your 24-hour window. You need to have an introduction using the Brava framework. I've got a video specifically on this topic, and the link will be somewhere in the page now or in the description. This usually comes at the beginning of the interview when they say, tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume. B is begin with gratitude. R is for current role that you're doing. A is for academic and pathway, a segue back to the beginning of your timeline. V is for vision forward, and O is for out of office. For strengths and weaknesses, keep it aligned to the competencies that you saw. If delivery and ownership are in the description, you can say that one of your strengths is consistent delivery with measurable outcomes, and give a short example of when you've demonstrated that. And for weaknesses, pick something real but contained. Make sure it's something that you're working on currently now to improve, and that's not going to hinder you for the job that you're applying for. Now, lastly, you also need good questions for the interviewer. At least 2. Here's one that you can take straight from the script. Let's fast forward 6 months from now. What would I have had to have done in that time to confirm that you made the right choice in hiring me? This question shows that you think in terms of outcomes, and it shows that you're already picturing yourself in this role. And it gives you the success criteria directly from the person who's going to be judging you. Listen to that answer and make notes. Pass 3 is delivery and rehearsal. You can have excellent stories, but if you sound scattered, the interviewer is not going to feel confident. In the last few hours before the interview, rehearse out loud, not in your head, out loud. Start with the Brava introduction and say it 3 times until it feels natural. Then go through each one of your 5 stories twice. Time yourself and aim for between about 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if the interview is online, you can always position sticky notes where you can see them without breaking eye contact. If you're using the toolkit, you can use the dashboard on a second monitor or on a tablet next to you. But remember, these are prompts, not scripts. They're going to help you stay on track. So there we have it. That's how to prepare in 24 hours for a last-minute interview. Align to the role, build 5 stories using task, result, action, reflection, situation, and headline, and set up your Bravo introduction. Prepare your strengths and weaknesses, and make sure that you have at least 2 questions for the interviewer. Rehearse them out loud so that when you show up, you sound clear, structured, and present. And remember, if you use code LASTMINUTE at checkout for the rest of this year, you're going to get 50% off my toolkit, saving you $25. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments below. Now, before you go, if you found this video useful, please click subscribe, not just to be notified for when a new video goes up, but because your engagement is the best and free way to tell YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn to share it out to a wider audience where somebody who really needs to see it will see it. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.